No longer are the well-expired noodles sitting on top of my 5-dome. It has been 86 years since I felt this scalp. What's going on, guys? It's Cynical and welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, I thought we would talk about Square Enix's major new AAA IP that was revealed during the PlayStation event last month. Project Athia. Now, of course, I missed out on all of the PlayStation hype and stuff that happened during that event last month with all of the cool reveals that ended up coming out of that. Ratchet & Clank, Project Athia, Resident Evil, Sackboy, Horizon Forbidden West, etc, etc. I was obviously on my hiatus during that time, so I missed out on all of that hype. Again, I really wish I wasn't in a hiatus during that time because, man, we would have had some spicier reactions. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about Square Enix's brand new upcoming PlayStation 5. It's not an exclusive because it is going to be out on PC, but PlayStation 5 title, Project Athia from Luminous Productions. Now, you guys should know that Luminous Productions were the guys responsible for that of Final Fantasy 15, and I know some of you guys might be sort of clenching your teeth at the thought of the Final Fantasy 15 team making something else. Now, honestly, I didn't mind Final Fantasy 15. I know to a lot of people it wasn't that great. I think a lot of people nowadays are kind of warming up to it. I thought it was a fantastic experience. Fun fact, it was actually my very first Final Fantasy game I ever completed. You guys should know that towards the end of 2018, unfortunately, Hajime Tabata ended up stepping away from Luminous Productions, away from Square Enix, to go pursue other things that he wanted to do. At this point, Hajime Tabata is no longer in the scene, and I'm not pretty much saying this as in like, don't worry guys, Project Athia is not going to be a mess. Good old Hajime Tabata is not. I can't help but feel my head. This is amazing. But don't worry, he's not going to be in the team. It's not going to be a mess. Da, da, da. But, yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate, and of course all the DLC plans, the extra ones towards FF15 were cancelled. During this time, I would say Luminous Productions were probably gearing up to prepare development on, of course, Project Athia, and last month we got our first brand new look at it. There had been a few things kind of swirling around for a little while throughout last year in regards to the fact that Luminous Productions were working on something brand new, and we got our first little look at exactly what this is. Now, I want to read through the official Square Enix press release information that came out towards Project Athia on the same day as the actual reveal of the trailer. So let's take a look at this. This doesn't really give us too much information at this point. We pretty much don't really know, like, anything about this game, in all honesty. The trailer was very short, about a minute, and even this blurb right here really doesn't give us too much context, but gives us a little bit of info. Designed for PlayStation 5, Project Athia will harness the full power of the console and demonstrates Luminous Productions' philosophy to provide a gaming experience like never before, fusing together the latest technology with art. Project Athia will transport players to a world filled with beauty and dismay as they set upon a thrilling story-led, action-packed adventure, which can be twisted, tempestuous, and forbidding. Honestly, like, again, like, that's great. That kind of gives us a few fancy words towards describing what this is, but literally that blurb could be plastered on any sort of fantasy-based video game, right? Project Athia is being developed simultaneously for PlayStation 5 and PC. This title is not yet rated by the ESRB, obviously. And in regards to, like, exactly when we're gonna get this, it's probably a long way away. A long way away. Obviously, Project Athia is a working title for the game. A lot of people are kind of coming up with the idea this could be a Final Fantasy game, this could be this, that, and that. I do think this is a brand new IP. But yes, at this point, Project Athia, it's just a placeholder name. For you guys that didn't know as well, yes, this will be coming to PC. Obviously, they do say within this blurb, as well as at the end of the trailer, that the game is designed for PlayStation 5, so I guess development has PlayStation 5 in mind first. To fully harness, specifically, I would say that SSD, that beautiful succulent SSD that's in that bad boy. But let's talk about what we actually saw, kind of like scene to scene. There's not really too much to unpack here, mainly because it's only about a minute and 20 seconds long. So the trailer starts off with this girl walking through a destroyed town or village of sorts. Don't know who the girl's name is. It could be Athia, but who exactly knows? Now, this town, it kind of is giving me sort of like Dark Souls-esque vibes. I don't know if I'm the only one kind of picking up on that. Clearly from the gameplay that we saw, it doesn't look like a sort of Dark Souls-esque game, but just the kind of like town environments, specifically this one right here, really with like the cages hanging around the place, the destroyed carts. It's reminding me a little bit of that sort of Dark Souls-esque environment setup. The character itself, obviously a female protagonist, I thought her actual outfit was quite interesting. She wears a cloak with some like sort of more modern looking pants, but specifically the shoes. Yeah, the shoes look modern, like from modern time. Like they look like modern day sneakers. What are those, fucking Nike Air Force 107s? So I'm trying to like establish what sort of time period is this set in. All of the different environments and stuff that we see throughout the trailer look like they're taking place in a fantasy-based land way back when, not set in modern times. But one thing that did catch my eye in regards to sort of the time era, or more so the time era that she could be potentially from, is the little sort of caption that comes up, "in a world not her own." So that's kind of leading me to believe, is she a time traveler of sorts? Has she found herself in some realm separate to her own? Is she from a place of modern times? The only thing that really makes me think that is, for one, like that sort of caption that does come up at the start of the trailer, but more so the shoes. I'm holding on to the shoes towards this idea mainly because they look like modern day sneakers in amongst like a fantasy-esque setup. We then see the scene with a caption popping up, "Truths will be questioned." Again, very ominous, quite cryptic, not really too sure what that is. But with a dog that's like sort of molten infused of sorts. We kind of see these dogs later on in the trailer during the gameplay portion with the protagonist actually attacking them. So yeah, these will be some creatures or beasts that obviously we will come across. The trailer then moves on to cutting back and forth from the ruined village to that of the lower portion of Athia's, we're going to call it just Athia for the time being, lower portion of her face. We don't actually get to see her face at all in the trailer, just the lower portion of her face. We get to see that she's obviously got a lot of style going on with that long ass fringe. Perhaps at this point the devs just haven't come up with a finalized version of the main protagonist's face, which also could be an indicator towards exactly where they are in development. Or there could just actually be a specific reason as to why they're actually hiding the upper portion of her face towards her eyes. Who exactly knows? Throughout the entire trailer though, yeah, this is like the closest we actually get to a frontal shot of her face. The rest of the trailer is just seeing Athia from behind. And straight afterwards, the trailer cuts into gameplay and Jesus! Oh my god, she's jumping from rock to rock. Look at that leapfrog action. My god, look at the grass, look at the rocks, look at the goddamn mountains in the foreground. Holy shit, the dirt textures look so good I can almost taste them. So yeah, this is actual gameplay footage all running in real time, and holy smokearinis. This is obviously still very early footage that we are seeing, but that being said, extremely impressive. Now the general aesthetic, you guys will probably feel some major Final Fantasy 15 vibes, as it kind of seems as if a lot of inspiration from Final Fantasy 15 and the environmental setup taken from that of Duscae has actually been infused into Project Athia. We'll sort of elaborate a little bit more on this in the very final scene of the trailer. However, the gameplay is really interesting. Obviously, we can see some really fluid jumping motions going on from rock to rock, and I'm kind of wondering from a gameplay perspective, how is this going to work? Obviously, the controlling of that of Noctis in Final Fantasy 15 was a little bit stiff, and so I hope that in the sense of like the platforming aspects or just the fluidity of controlling your character is all the more fluid in that of Project Athia compared to kind of how it felt to control Noctis in Final Fantasy 15. I'm not saying it was terrible, because obviously you didn't really do a lot of like jumping around and like platforming, and you didn't really need overly too much fluid movement in that game per se, unless of course you're in the PTOS dungeon, then Jesus. But yeah, because this is looking like the type of game, we're clearly displaying the fact that you can jump all around the place from like one fucking cliff to another. I really do hope that controlling the character feels really nice and smooth. That being said though, it does kind of seem as if like when Athia is jumping from rock to rock to rock, it kind of almost does look a little bit automated. So what I mean by that is like, if you think Kingdom Hearts 3, how parkour worked in that, it was sort of automated, so as long as you held the analog stick forward, the character would just do all of those cool movements for you. So it could very well likely be a setup like that. This does sort of look like a linear game, though it's still at this point really hard to tell, as obviously the scenes were just so snappy, so quick. Although it does look like we have a massive surrounding world, and that final scene does show us a massive vista of what looks like places to explore. It's very likely that this is more so of a linear game rather than open world, but there's just not enough information to go off of at this point. We then see some combat, so it seems to be that Athia is some kind of witch of sorts or magic user of sorts, as of course she pulls out her hand and she sort of entangles those wolf things that we saw at the very beginning of the trailer in roots. So it looks like she has some kind of control over maybe earth, or perhaps even multiple elements. The interesting thing here is that if we actually look at the meaning behind Athia, the description reads a cognate of the Greek Athene, an ancient name of unknowing etymology, born in Greek mythology by the goddess of wisdom, skill, and warfare. So if we actually think about those last three words used to describe this exact name, wisdom, skill, and warfare, I guess Athia, the protagonist here, kind of displays all three of those things. Skill, with her obviously jumping from rock to rock to rock. She's clearly quite skilled in the movement side of things. Wisdom being that of a magic user, most likely also being quite intelligent as well. And of course, warfare, well, I mean, that this girl can like rip things to shreds. I mean, she called upon Roots to like probably disembowel that wolf. Poor Mr. Wolf. Poor Mr. Wolf. It was either us or the wolf, though. I mean, what are you gonna do? You'll also notice how the other two wolf buddies, like, jump back in absolute dismay and complete fear when this woman brings up Roots out of God knows fucking where to entangle their best buddy. Oh, hell no, that crazy witch has Jeff! So, yeah, they've clearly used the Athia in Project Athia for a specific reason. Now, the unfortunate thing is we don't have an uncompressed version of this trailer, which is just so unfortunate, because as you guys should know, YouTube absolutely compresses the video quality when you do upload it, but there are actually uncompressed images over on Square Enix's press website. This right here is an uncompressed version of that exact scene of the wolf getting like entangled with the roots. Now, you guys won't see it because it will be compressed, but I definitely do recommend you guys to go over to the press website, download those images so that you can actually see these scenes in full detail. Because my god, the compressed version of the trailer on YouTube just doesn't do this game justice when looking at like all of the little details. Like I'm looking at like all the detailing in that fucking log over there, like the bark sort of bits coming off and stuff, that bush over there, there's lots of like little details in that, but the rocks, the fucking rocks, again the dirt and the grass, I feel like I can almost taste it, that's how good it's looking. We then skip to a dark and ominous scene of Athia in the woods with what the fuck is this? Bro, am I still looking at the same game here? Or is this fucking Bloodborne 2? So yeah, clearly Athia comes in contact with some sort of HP Lovecraftian-inspired creature. Dear Lord Almighty, and this is still running in real time, again, very impressive. Then cutting back to the mountainous area that we saw with the dogs, Athia has clearly jumped off some sort of high-as cliff and lands that landing animation looking very nice. Clearly, she doesn't take any fall damage. Now, the final scene of the trailer, in my opinion, is probably the most interesting and gets me the most intrigued, mainly because this scene absolutely screams inspiration from Final Fantasy 15, specifically the Duscae region. We'll see out in the distance these sort of stone arches. There's two of them, and interestingly enough as well, in the image right here that Square Enix uploaded of the destroyed, ruined town, we can also see just very slightly another stone arch sort of over the destroyed village as well. So it kind of seems like this world, there's a lot of those stone arches, but Those stone arches first appeared in Final Fantasy 15. I think there's about 10 of them in the Duscae region. And not only that, but I was also tripping out at the big spike mountain in the distance right here and amongst the clouds. It looks so damn similar to the meteorite in the Disc of Korthus. Like, this is insane. Like, it's almost 1-to-1. Now, I'm not coming up with some theory that this is, like, the next Final Fantasy game, but maybe? I don't know. This is, I believe, a brand new IP, and what's going on here is I do think the Luminous team have taken a lot of inspiration from Final Fantasy 15 when it comes to the environmental setup. And honestly, I don't mind. Like, the environments of Final Fantasy 15 for the grasslands of Duscae were just absolutely jaw-dropping. So to see more of that kind of infused into Project Athia, I'm all for. I think it's also fairly obvious as well that the game is taking a lot of notes from the geography of Greece as well, just considering that Athia is derived from that of Greek mythology. It's clear to see that a lot of the terrain types throughout this trailer are very close to that of the geography of Greece, being very rocky and mountainous. Then we finally see the title card, Project Athia. It then clips to the final true scene of like a big fire molten dragon thing. The whole molten beast thing seems to be kind of prominent here. So maybe all the creatures are sort of like molten infused, who really knows. But we're going to be fighting a big fuck off dragon, so that's to look forward to. And that right there, guys, is our very first slice of Square Enix's next brand new IP. Now, in my update video, I kind of lightly touched upon Project Athia, and I was saying that I'm a little bit skeptical on this only because of the fact that when it comes to brand new IPs for Square Enix, a lot of the time they don't tend to work out all too well. The reception doesn't turn out too good. And I mean, again, I'm mainly looking at like Left Alive, which was looking kind of cool and then turned into a flop. And then Quiet Man, I mean, honestly, I think Quiet Man was just looking like a flop from the get-go. But do keep in mind that this is AAA tier stuff. Considering that Final Fantasy 15 was an absolutely fantastic time and that I'm sure Luminous are going to take in all of the feedback that they received to Final Fantasy 15 to better the development going forward. I think what we have right here is something that is looking pretty damn promising and could very well be the next household IP for that of Square Enix. I'm just crossing my fingers though that this isn't going to be another 10-year development hell situation. Because yeah, Square Enix are kind of infamous for development times. Long development time. So yeah, let's hope that we will be seeing more of this game next year to indicate that this is well and truly on track for a release in maybe 2022, maybe 2023. But however, guys, I've been wanting to talk about this for just so long now, like the past month, and finally it's done, dusted. Let me know what you guys think about Project Athia in the comment section down below. Would love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions about Square Enix's brand new venture. Now guys, I'm Cynical, hope that you dudes are having a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.